Mary Bagwell versus Lindsay Gaetani. Ms. Bagwell, right here, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Gaetani, right to that podium. Thank you, ma'am. Could all parties testifying in this matter please raise their right hand? You both solemnly swear and affirm that the testimony you are now about to give in this proceeding will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Thank you.
Okay, ma'am, can you state your name for the record?
Mary Bagwell.
Okay. And your name for the record, ma'am?
Lindsay Gaetani.
Okay. All right, and Ms. Bagwell, are you asking for the court to further extend this order today?
Yes, I am.
And are you objecting to a further extension of this order today?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
And just for the record, good morning. I'm Joanna Staffing. This is Mary Bagwell.
Good morning. And have you filed an appearance in the case?
I believe I did.
Okay, let me just check.
I think I had someone in last.
Okay. I don't see it on the list, so I'll have you fill out a new appearance. Okay. All right, and Ms. Gaetani, have you seen the affidavit that was completed when the plaintiff filled out the restraining order application?
Yes, I have.
Okay. All right, and I'm just going to take a moment just to look at the case papers. So it looks like this order issued on December 10th at 4:28 p.m., expiring today at 11 o'clock. I will note for the record, it does look like everything was completed on the order. And the only note I do want to just make for the record is it does appear that the address, there was a request to impound both the residential address and the workplace address. So that was allowed by the judge at the previous date. However, I just want to make it clear for the record that it looks like the motion to impound wasn't officially signed, and it doesn't look like the order was signed. I just want to make that clear. So the order is in effect, but it doesn't look like the order was signed by the judge officially, but I'm not going to change that in any way, but I just want to state that for the record. But the order has been in effect, and it was clearly allowed on the last date by the judge. Okay. All right, so you have seen a complete copy. It's a 2-page affidavit. You've seen and read that affidavit?
Yes, I have.
Okay. All right, so ma'am, I'll hear from you, and counsel, I'm not sure if you want your client to testify directly as to the basis for further extending the order.
Yes, Your Honor. Taking a look at the affidavit, I think there's some details that are left out. She was ex parte pro se when she was in last week, so I would like some testimony. Your Honor,
Okay.
just for the record, I do notice that there's a member of the audience filming. I don't know if that's permitted. I just wanted to see if that's okay.
Yes, so we did have, the court officer did bring to my attention that there was a media request, and that was allowed, and that was, I was told it was for a still, it was a still photography. Is that accurate? Okay, so it's still photographs. Okay. All right, so you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. If you could just introduce yourself for the record.
Mary Bagwell,
And Ms. Bagwell, where do you reside?
Hansfield.
And who do you reside there with?
My 2 sons,
How old are your two sons?
17 and 29.
And are you employed?
Yes,
What is your profession?
work in finance.
Now, how is it that you know the defendant in this matter?
I met her through another friend that I had And we got to know each other initially through a third call, which the other person would call us in on a three-way call.
And when did you first meet the defendant?
Last year, in last 2023.
And you said you met her through a three-way call.
That's initially how we would like interact.
And at some point, did your relationship with, or friendship with her progress?
Yeah,
And did the two of you eventually meet in person?
yeah.
And when was that?
June of this year.
If you can just keep your voice up a little bit, just so that I can't hear you all that
Sorry.
well. Thank you.
You met her June of this year, 2024?
2024,
And where did you meet her?
at a protest.
And what kind of protest is this?
It was the Karen Reed protest.
And was it pro-government or pro-Karen Reed?
It was pro-government.
So both of you were on the same side, pro-government?
Yes,
And after that, did the two of you still have interactions after this June 2024 protest?
yes.
And what kind of interactions did the two of you have?
We would meet at a restaurant before we would go to a protest, and we went to a second protest together, and then after we would go back to the restaurant. She actually invited me to go to her court hearing that she had with her kid's father, Frankie, and I did not go to that one. I started distancing.
So is it fair to say the two of you were friends and you were close at some point?
Yes,
And let me back you up for a second. Did the two of you socialize outside of these protests?
yes.
How many times would you say the two of you socialized?
About 3 or 4, a few times.
Now, directing your attention to the summer, was there a social where the two of you were at a pool party?
Yes,
Do you recall what month that was this summer?
July 8th, I believe.
And what can you tell the court about what happened at that pool party?
I noticed that when Miss Gaetani showed up, she had half a bottle of wine already empty. It's already gone, and she noticed us looking at her, and she shoved the wine bottle in the tote.
And let me
in her tote
pause you
bag.
right there. You
Yeah.
say when she showed up, was she driving? Did you see how she got to the party?
I didn't see her pull up. No, we were in the backyard.
Okay. So then what happened?
So then she, came over and introduced, said hi to everyone.
Did she have her kids with her?
Yes,
And how many kids does she have and what are their ages, if you know?
she had 3 kids. I know Mila is 3, Cole is 5. I believe the other one was Keegan. And she has an older son, Cameron, that's a teenager, but I've only met him once, and he never really wants to go anywhere with them.
And how did her demeanor appear to you at this pool party?
When she came up to me, I noticed her speech was slurring. She had slurred speech. She was very disheveled and kind of all over the place.
Did you have concerns that she was intoxicated?
Yes,
Is this relevant to the order? Is this relevant to the facts
It
that?
is, your
Okay.
yes. Soon after that at the pool party, was there an incident in the pool?
yes.
And what occurred?
I was talking with people. There was like a little bar area, and I noticed her daughter fell off the unicorn blow up thing that was in the pool. It was in the deep end. My son Jacob was in the pool the whole time and dove under the water and went and pulled her up.
So essentially, your son saved her child from drowning.
Yes,
And did this happen a few more times throughout the day?
2 more times. Yes,
So 2 more times her child had to be rescued?
yes.
Now, fast forwarding after this incident, did the two of you have a conversation on the phone? And you just have to keep your voice up for the record. Is that a yes?
Yes,
Now, your affidavit that you filled out references a August phone call. Is that really July?
yes, it's July.
And did you have your phone records at the time you filled this
No.
harassment order affidavit out?
No,
So who ends up calling who in July?
Ms. Gaetani called me.
And what was that conversation?
She talked to me about what had happened and occurred at her court proceeding with Frankie and all of the details of what happened there. She had asked me to go, and I did not want to go with her to the court proceeding to that. And we talked, she talked a lot, we talked a lot.
At some point, did you raise any concerns you have with her?
Yes.
And what were those concerns that you raised on the phone call?
That she was about her drinking and the driving with the kids, and there was a knife incident when she was driving the kids to Castle Island, and she called us on, it was like a messenger app, and so she called us on audio and video. It was like a video so we could see, like we saw her kids in the back. There was a group of us that were on that video call, and she seemed like she was very not coherent. She was very distraught. She was slurring her speech. We couldn't understand what she was saying. There was something happened. I guess she was going down a one-way street, and guys were coming out of the one-way street. So she stopped the car and she started screaming. And then she keeps a knife on the side of her seat. It's in one of those shaft things. It's a long knife. And she's like, "Don't worry, I have a knife." And then she took the knife out, and then she left the kids in the car, abandoned in the middle of a busy intersection.
So just to summarize, the phone call raised concerns about this knife incident,
Yeah.
safety about the kids, drinking and driving, and was the incident about the pool also brought up too?
Yes.
And when you confronted her with these concerns you had about her behavior, what was her reaction?
She told me I needed to watch my fucking self.
Any other things that she said to you that were threatening?
She said that they are not my kids. Mind your own business. Worry about your own fucking kids. And
did she tell you at some point that she would come after you?
yeah, she said that she would. You don't know who you're fucking with. I will come to your house. I will come for you.
And when she said you better watch yourself and I'll come for you and I'll come to your house, how did that make you feel?
Scared and terrified, afraid.
And after this phone conversation, what, if any, steps did you take to protect yourself or distance yourself from her?
I avoided interacting with her. She invited Jacob and I to Cole's birthday party. I didn't go to that.
So it's safe to say that the two of you were departing after this incident?
Yes, but I was distancing myself from her and only mainly interacting with her in like an audio, like if she would call or someone would call in the audio call in the messenger app. Sometimes I would answer and then sometimes I wouldn't. Like if I knew she was calling or on the call, I mostly tried to just stay quiet.
And was there another phone call in September of this year?
Yes.
And I see that your affidavit references again another August call. Is it safe to say that that is really September and not August?
Yes.
And again, did you have your phone records in front of you when you were testifying at the ex parte hearing?
No.
Sorry.
No. Sorry.
What was the phone call in September about? Do you need a minute? Whenever you're ready. Is it okay if she just takes a minute?
Sure.
Thank you.
So the office is calling the plaintiff on the Hamlin case. All right, counsel, why don't you and your client step out in the hallway? We can call some other matters.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, so we'll just put this on for just a brief further call. And just so you know, ma'am, you'll have an opportunity.
Calling the Mary Bagwell versus Lindsay Gaetani matter.
Thank you.
Thank you. Both parties remain under oath. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, so before the break, there was a discussion regarding events that occurred on September of 2024, and there was a brief discussion about the fact that it was not August of 2024, as was discussed in the affidavit, I believe.
Yes, Your Honor, that's correct. So you had a phone call in September, correct? And what can you tell the court about that phone call?
I had a talk with her again about safety of kids and the knife incident and the drinking and driving and a lot of heavy, she drinks a lot and I was concerned with her safety and well-being.
So you brought up similar concerns that you had brought up in the July phone call. Fair to say?
Yes.
And when you brought up these concerns, what was her reaction to you bringing these concerns up?
She told me that I needed to mind my own fucking business, that she is gonna come for me, she's gonna show up at my house and beat my ass in front of my children.
And when she said this to you, what was your reaction? How did you feel?
Terrified, scared. I was just trying to help her get help.
And after this phone call, did you stop all interaction with her?
Yeah.
Sorry?
Yes.
Yes. Directing your attention to December 9th, were you on a podcast?
Yes.
And what was this podcast?
It was the JFK podcast.
And what did you discuss on the podcast?
What was the date, counsel? I apologize.
December 9th.
Okay.
What had happened at the pool party, my son saving her kids from drowning 3 times, her drinking, like just my perspective of what had happened.
So just to summarize, you went on a podcast December 9th and spoke about your experience with the defendant.
Yeah.
Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
And was, as far as you know, was this podcast made available for the public to hear?
Yes.
And soon after this was made public, what if anything occurred?
I received from 8 blocked phone numbers starting at 12:09 a.m. through 12:11 a.m. There were
And is that December 10th?
10th, December 10th,
And I'm showing you.
8 blocked what?
phone
Phone
numbers.
numbers.
Phone calls?
Yeah.
Yes, phone calls. I'm showing you a depiction of.
And I apologize, what was the time of those?
12:08 a.m.
12:09,
12:09. The 12:10.
12:11.
And in front of you is what appears to be a screenshot. Did you take that screenshot?
Yes,
And that was on December 11th, is that what you said?
December 10th.
Okay. So when you said 12:11, was that the time? Or was,
That's the time, Ryan.
Yes, 12:09 a.m.
okay,
through 12:11
Okay.
a.m. on
okay.
12:10, which is my birthday.
And is this a screenshot of your phone?
Yes.
And when did you take that screenshot?
After, within like a couple
Let me
of
straighten
days.
out, let me ask you differently. Do you see all these numerous blocked calls and unknown calls?
Yes,
When did you receive those calls?
on December 10th.
So this is fair to say it's a depiction of the phone calls you received on December 10th.
Yes.
Your Honor, I move to enter this into evidence. I did provide the defendant a copy of this earlier.
Okay. Have you received a copy of that, ma'am?
Yes, I have, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. And can you just describe what that is? So that's a call, that's a log of calls?
Yes, it's a log of calls, and it's about 8 calls that say either unknown caller or no caller.
So they're just calls, they're not messages, they're just incoming calls that were not answered?
Yes.
Okay.
And at some point, did you answer any of those unknown or blocked calls?
Yes.
And who did you understand to be on the other side of that call?
Lindsay Gaetani,
And how is it that you know it was Lindsay Gaetani?
because I know her voice. I've had had some long conversations with her.
And what did she say?
She called me, she said, why are you fucking lying or talking about my kids on the internet show? I will kill you. I will rip your fucking head off. I will come to your house and murder you and your kids. You dumb bitch. Do you understand me, you dumb bitch?
And can you describe for the court what her demeanor was like on the phone?
Very
Or her
out of
voice.
control, like very scary, very angry.
And at some point, did you inform her that you were going to begin recording the phone call?
Yeah,
And did you record that phone call?
yes.
And is it all recorded or?
No, the whole call is 46 seconds long. So when she started repeating the same threats again, I said, Lindsay, I'm going to record you. And I did a new security upgrade from the iPhone security, where you press the record button and it doesn't record anything, but it gives 3 warning beeps. And then it says, this call is being recorded.
Your Honor, I'd like to play that phone
Okay.
call.
So you'll have to play it into one of these
The microphone.
microphones, or it won't.
And I do have it for the court in USB as well.
Okay.
Excuse me.
You are crying about my kids on an internet show on the internet.
Lying about about your kids, Lindsay. If everything was true that I said, there were plenty of witnesses. You stupid bitch! You need to stop drinking. Sweetheart, you need to stop drinking. You fucking stop. I will come to your house and I will murder you and your kids. You understand me? You dumb bitch.
Your Honor, I'd like to enter that as an exhibit. Like I said, I had one.
Okay. All right, that'll be exhibit number 2.
Yes, Judge.
All right, ma'am, do you have any objection to that being entered as exhibit number 2? The phone call log is exhibit number 1.
I do, because
Okay.
I was never informed that I was being recorded. And as you can hear in the recording, there's no mention that the call is going to be recorded.
Okay. All right. All right, and do you want to respond to that, counsel?
Yes, Your Honor, I kind of testified on that it was being recorded, and that she actually was informed by the police that the defendant had actually gone to the police and confirmed it was her on the recording. And that she knew she was being recorded, so again, I think it comes to credibility, I think it's not credibility that she was informed of the recording.
Okay.
And I will say, Your Honor, I've reviewed it, and I find it is right, that it is this new upgrade, so when you click record now on phones, it does alert the other person and it transcribes it. So when I reviewed what was sent to me, it was transcribed, which tells me that she would have had to receive notification on the other side of that call because of this new update.
All right, what do you mean notification?
So this new app on the phone, when you hit record and the other person on the other line, it says you are now being recorded. And then it starts to record and transcribe that conversation. The other person on the other line, there's no way they wouldn't have to know because of this new software, and I'm happy to demonstrate for the court.
Okay. Okay. You can continue.
Thank you. You appear visibly upset. Why is that?
I'm terrified. I'm scared. I think she's going to follow through. She's capable of doing it. I think she's going to do it. I think she's going to follow through with her threats. I think she's going to come to my house. I think she's going to murder me and my kids. Terrified. I can't sleep at night. I'm not hungry. I can't eat.
Did you notify the police after this incident?
I called 911.
And did the police appear at your house?
Yes.
And did you make a report?
Yes.
And placing in front of you the police report, you could just take a quick second to review it. Is that the police report from the incident?
Yeah.
And are those the statements you've made to the police?
Yes.
Now, if I could enter this into exhibit number 3.
Okay. Any objection?
No objection.
To your knowledge, are you aware that police are pressing charges against, or taking out charges against her?
Yes, they are.
And how did you become aware of that?
The Lieutenant Donald sent me an email.
And are you seeking a 1-year extension of the harassment order today?
Yes, I am.
And why is it that you are seeking that from the court?
I'm in fear of my children's lives, my life, terrified, I'm scared. I can't, it has affected me to the level of I don't want to go anywhere. I can't sleep at night. Like, if I lay down to go to bed, if I hear a noise outside, I look at my camera. I have cameras. Even with cameras, I look at the camera. I can't see anything. I get out of bed. I go downstairs. I look out the window. Then I go back upstairs, and then I'll hear a car go by or some other noise, and I'll do the same thing. I'll look at the camera, and if I can't see the surroundings, I'll go downstairs, look out the window. I usually, after 2 or 3 times of that, I'll make a cup of tea, and try to go back to sleep, but I can't sleep. I have no appetite, like.
Are you in fear of the defendant?
Yeah, yes, I am.
Intimidated by the defendant?
Yes, I am. She's staring at me.
Thank you. I don't have any further questions.
Okay. All right, and ma'am, have you seen this, counsel, did you give her a copy of this report? Okay. I just wanted to make sure that you saw this report, and this is a report of the Mansfield Police Department incident report. You've seen this report?
Yes, I have.
Okay. Okay. Anything else to add, counsel?
There you are.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, so ma'am, you have a right to respond. In light of everything that I've heard, I do need to tell you, particularly in light of the fact that I just got information that there may be a charge that's being filed against you for what may be threats to commit a crime. You do have a Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination, so I have an obligation to tell you that before you give me any testimony in any way. This is a recording device. Everything that you say in this courtroom is recorded. So you absolutely have a right against self-incrimination. That's a Fifth Amendment right that you have. So you do not have to say anything here as it relates to this restraining order. You don't have to respond in any way. And I will caution you as it relates to, in particular, the events that took place that resulted in what may be a criminal application at the Mansfield Police, and those would be the events of December 10th. So in particular, you have a Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination as it relates to potential threats that were made. So again, be very careful. I'd caution you not to say anything specifically as it relates to those events, because there could be a criminal case pending. Okay. All right. So you wish to respond in any way as it relates to this further extension of the harassment prevention order?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and you may proceed.
So I feel like I need to give a bit of a background as to the events that led up to this. First of all, I'm standing in this courtroom today with a person sitting behind me who I have an active restraining order against. His name is Aidan Carney. He is also known as Turtle Boy, and he is a blogger that has been covering the Karen Reed murder case.
Okay, you have a restraining order against that person?
He's in the courtroom behind me right now. I will mention that the order several months ago was amended at the Dedham District Court, so he could be within 50 yards of me at any courthouse. But that he is the center of, I believe, in my opinion, what brings us here today. I briefly dated him, and he was charged with several crimes against me for witness intimidation, assault and battery, and wiretapping. He was indicted on those charges because he tried to prevent me from testifying against him when I was issued a subpoena to testify in front of a grand jury. And those matters are still pending. They have not been adjudicated yet. So the chat room where I initially started talking to Ms. Bagwell was created as a support group for victims and witnesses of Mr. Carney and people who believed in Karen Reed's guilt. And I began talking to Ms. Bagwell in that chat room that consisted of about, I want to say, roughly 10 people on Facebook Messenger over the course of a few months. Ms. Bagwell incorrectly stated in her testimony that she first spoke to me in 2023, but it was actually this past year, 2024. I think it might have been April or May, somewhere around there, maybe a little bit after. And all of the conversations in that group between everyone were always...
Just so you know, my notes indicate that it was around June of 2024. That was what I have in my notes.
I think that's the time that she said she first met me, but the first time she said she spoke to me, I believe she said 2023. Okay. So I just wanted to make sure I clarified.
Okay.
So all of the interactions in that group chat between everyone, myself and Ms. Bagwell and everyone else in the group were always cordial and friendly. I've never had an issue with Ms. Bagwell at all. I barely know her. I did meet her for the first time if you're saying June of 2024, I would have to agree because I don't know the exact date, but it was at a protest for during the Karen retrial, and we interacted minimally but friendly. We didn't talk much. There was a lot of people there that day, and like I said, it was the first time I met her through a mutual friend. I actually gave her a ride back to her car, and then we continued talking throughout the group chat after that. She mentioned that I asked her to attend hearings with the father of my children. That is incorrect. I've never asked her to attend, or anyone for that matter, to attend any hearings with the father of my children. She offered to attend a hearing with me and Mr. Carney at one point, which I did accept her offer, and she met myself and my aunt at a local restaurant for lunch prior to the hearing, where she interacted with me and my aunt and a couple of other friends, friendly and cordial, and I left first to get to the hearing on time, and Ms. Bagwell and my aunt went shortly after. They were going to come inside the courtroom, but never made it inside because there was not enough seating. Ms. Bagwell was upset after that. She told me that I should file a complaint with the victim advocate, who said that she was going out to look for my aunt and Ms. Bagwell to get them a seat. Ms. Bagwell claimed the victim advocate never came outside, and she was upset about this, that she had to wait outside, and the victim advocate never came out to get her. But she did not display any frustration or upset with me. We continued talking occasionally, still friendly and cordial, never had any issues. Then I think I saw her at maybe one other protest where, again, there was nothing but positive interactions, but again, minimal contact with me and Ms. Bagwell. The next time I saw her was at a pool party on July 8th at my friend Carrie Lama's house in Stoughton. I was the last one to arrive. There was probably between 10 to 15 people in total. My friend, Miss Lama, has a pool at her house, and I reside in Medfield, so I have 4 children. 3 of my children came with me, but I had to get my children lunch, so I was the last one to come. I packed bags for my children with extra clothes, goggles, towels, snacks, juice boxes, life vests, puddle jumpers. And then on the way, I sent a text to the group chat and asked if everybody was already at the pool, because I wanted to stop and get some arm floaties as well, just in case my son didn't want to wear his puddle jumper. But everybody told me in the chat that they were already there, so I said, that's okay, I have the puddle jumpers and the life vest, it'll be fine. And I got there, I was not under the influence of any alcohol or drugs when I arrived. I do not drive drunk with my children. I do not have an alcohol problem. I arrived with my children with all three of my youngest children, 3, 4, and 6 in tow, and all of the bags packed with everything they could need. If anything, I would consider myself a helicopter parent because I never take my eyes off of my children. I am the only caretaker they have. I don't have any immediate or extended family, and their fathers are not involved. So I care for them on my own all the time. When I got there, I wasn't even able to greet everybody because my children saw the pool and were very excited to get in. I immediately dropped everything, put sunscreen on all of them, made them wait for the sunscreen to dry, then put their life vests and puddle jumpers on, and then brought them into the shallow end of the pool where the stairs lead into the pool. Miss Bagwell's son, Jacob, was in attendance. I believe he was 17 at the time. And there was also another friend of mine whose child was there. She, I believe, is 18. And like I said, the multiple other adults. I never once left my children's side other than on 2 occasions, I separately brought 2 of my children into the bathroom. And then at one point I sat down at the urging of one of the other adults to sit down and have a pizza, which I think I took 2 bites out of. Other than that, my eyes were on my children the entire time, just like they always are. I am especially nervous around pools. I have been a competitive swimmer most of my life. I am trained as a lifeguard. I taught my 6-year-old son to swim when he was 3. My other 2 do not know how to swim, so but even my 6-year-old, I wouldn't let him go past the shallow line. Miss Bagwell was very quiet. She was there with another person, a friend of hers, Christy, who nobody knew who invited them, and they were very quiet and kind of stuck together the whole time and didn't interact with anyone. I have brought 3 written statements from attendees of that pool party who can attest to everything that I have said. And then I also have a witness here in person who was also at the pool party that did not write a written statement, but is willing to testify about what she saw at that pool party. Do you want me to take a break for a minute while you read those, or should I keep going?
No, I do have an objection to these coming to evidence.
Okay. Well, I think that I'll certainly, we don't need to take a break. I can certainly read them. I'll hear you on your objection.
Sure, so Your Honor, one, I'm not sure if Girl Exhibit 2, it's hearsay. I don't have the witness here for cross-examination purposes.
Yeah. And you're just talking about, tell me what the letters are being offered for.
The letters declare that my children never even came close to drowning. None of the story of which Miss Bagwell told is anywhere close to the truth. Okay. That I was an attentive mother the entire time. I was not under the influence. I did not leave my children's side. There was just about my state of mind and my interactions with my children.
Okay. I mean, I will certainly take a look at the letters. To be very frank, that doesn't have any basis in my decision whether to extend the order.
Right.
It doesn't, it frankly has no basis. Whether you were, don't take this the wrong way. It's not that I don't care whether you're a good mother or a bad mother. Right. It doesn't have any basis as to the conduct that I have to look at in extending the order. So the conduct that I'm looking at is your conduct as it relates to the plaintiff in the order. I'll look at them. I'll look at the letters and I'll read them. I'll certainly take a note of counsel's objections to them, but I'll read them because you've had them prepared. But it's not relevant to what I'm looking at to extend the order, but I will certainly take a look at them.
Okay.
I'll read them. I'm not going to admit them as evidence because I don't, again, I don't find them, they're not relevant to the issues that I'm looking at as it relates to the conduct.
Okay.
Okay.
Would you like me to wait?
Yeah, if you can just hang on 1 second, just so that I can read what you've submitted. And you've seen these?
I have, Your Honor.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, have read what you've submitted. I'll have these marked as defendant's exhibit. I'll note your objection for the record, counsel, but I will have them marked as an exhibit. I did read them, and they do reference some of the defendant's conduct, so I'll mark them as relevant, again, to the case, but again, not necessarily to the conduct that's at hand. Okay. All right, you may continue.
So I also have my text messages with Ms. Bagwell printed out. I have messages from after the pool party at July 8th where she's, I mean, I will, if you're able to read these, you can read them, but just friendly conversation. She's asking if I got home okay, following up with me about issues with other people that she's having. Never once does she mention anything about any drowning incidents or concerns about my drinking. She also at one point points out, well, these are text messages, but I also have Facebook messages where she had pointed out what a great mother I am. Ms. Bagwell, though, went and unsent every single message in the group chat before this hearing. So you can see my responses where I respond and say, oh my God, Jacob was so, oh wait, that was somebody else. Where I say something along, well, let me see if I can find the exact one. Thank you, and so are you, and same with a crying emoji, because she had told me that I'm a great mother and that it was so nice to see me interact with my kids. But she went and unsent every single message, because on Facebook Messenger it allows you to unsend messages. So I have those messages from after the party, but then the text messages as well. And then she claimed in August that I threatened her twice. I know she has since tried to change the date and say that she got the date wrong, but you can see her communicating with me in August, specifically Friday, August 9th. She says, when's your court date? I didn't respond to her. Monday, August 12th, she says, I don't know what happened between you and Kate, but I'm here for you, girlfriend, with a heart emoji. I didn't respond. And then the next message on Monday, September 23rd, which is the day that she claims I made a phone call to her, she made a phone call to me. It lasted an hour and 50 minutes. And the entire phone call consisted of her complaining about a man named Joe Warren and how she was fighting with him and upset because she took him to the hospital and helped him when he broke his leg, but he was supposed to bring her out for dinner afterwards and he didn't, and she was angry with him. And she followed up with that phone call with screenshots of her messages with her and this man, Joe Warren, on September 23rd, after we got off that hour and 50-minute call, which would contradict her statement that I was on the phone during that hour and 50 minutes threatening her. And then my phone ended up dying because I was on the phone with her so long, and I never contacted her again. The next contact I ever had from her was Friday, December 6th, because I saw that she suddenly was in chat rooms of various YouTube shows, making comments about me, lying about the father of my children, lying about my parenting, and lying about the case with Mr. Carney. So I sent her a text on Friday, December 6th, saying, "Why are you lying about me like this, Mary? You just make up completely false things about people now. Why would you say such a thing? What is actually wrong with you?" And that was the last contact I had with her until the day that I heard her calling to that YouTube show called JFK. I actually didn't hear her live. I was in bed with my children, and then I got a message from another friend who told me that, or asked me, "Oh my God, did you hear what Mary is saying about you on YouTube?" And she sent me the link to the show, and by that time the show was over. It was probably past midnight. But I went back and listened to it, and Mary had called into the show and started telling this crazy story about my children drowning and being found at the bottom of the pool back in July, and that her son had to save my children, and that I was drunk and not paying attention, and I heard that, and after, I will skip back a little bit. So for the past year, since Mr. Carney was charged with the charges against me, he has a massive cult following, like hundreds of thousands of viewers on his YouTube shows and social media platforms. And he has been, like, even despite the restraining order, writing about me, harassing me nonstop for the past year, getting his followers to harass me, harass my children, having.
But this is about you, this is about the two of you, so we have to.
Right, but there is
remember
some, it does lead into it, because Ms. Bagwell gave Mr. Carney access to the group chat we were in, despite my restraining order, and then all of a sudden, she changed, for lack of a better phrase, she switched sides and went on Mr. Carney's side and tried to start helping him with his case. And he announced even last night on his show that he got her lawyer for today, and he would be in attendance. So I feel like this is another intimidation tactic. I want to make something very clear as far as the phone call. I am not trying to make excuses or diminish anything that I said. I am ashamed. I am disgusted with myself that I let them get the best of me, that I let them get under my skin, and that I reacted the way that I did. My children have been incessantly harassed for the past year. And when Ms. Bagwell went on the show, so my children's private impounded probate documents have been posted online. We have been followed on private vacations and pictures of them taken on the beach and posted on the internet. Anytime I've had to call the police, they have gotten police audio and posted it online. They have posted about my children making fake accounts, calling my daughter closet baby. And Mr. Carney has lied and said that I locked my youngest daughter in a closet and I don't feed her. And last night he made another mention about closet baby, and this has been one big joke. And so Ms. Bagwell, to go on the show, even Mr. Carney and the other people that have been harassing my children, and I have never named my children, but Ms. Bagwell went on the show and named and gave their ages. So, their schools have been called, DCF has been called, they have been tortured, and they are 3, 4, 6, and 12, and they have nothing to do with any of this. And Ms. Bagwell called into the show. No one was even talking about my children and I, and did this, I believe, as a way to instigate and help Mr. Carney get me to react. And I don't, like I said, I am not making an excuse, but it was hyperbole. I wasn't going to actually rip her head off or kill her. It was a horrific choice of words. I would never harm a fly. I'm a registered nurse. I have never been in trouble in my life. I would never do anything to harm anyone. I reacted in the moment as my motherly instincts kicked in, and I just had reached my boiling point with my children being attacked and Ms. Bagwell naming them on a public show with thousands of viewers. And so I I want to say that first of all, but the other two instances that Ms. Bagwell listed on her affidavit are completely false. They've never happened. I've never had any other problems with Ms. Bagwell. This has never happened before. I've never even had ill will towards her. So I don't believe that the restraining order should be extended. I don't wish to have any contact with her. I don't want to harm her. I don't have any intention of going near her. I don't run in the same circles as her. I don't even leave my house because I am followed everywhere I go. I am scared to leave my house from the harassment that I receive. And I do have a witness here that will testify to all of this, and I don't know if you would like to see these messages as well from after the dates that Ms. Bagwell mentioned that she alleged that I threatened her.
Messages here with an individual named Joe. I would just object to those because I don't know if that is a line of messages to be relevant.
Okay. And what's the relevance of those messages?
That was when she was sharing with me the same day as the phone call where she said I threatened her. She was complaining about this individual named Joe. She was showing me screenshots that they were fighting and discussing their interactions, why they were fighting. It proves that I was not talking to her about threatening her. She was talking to me about this man that she was having a problem with.
And they were on the same day?
Yes, same day. Same time as the phone call.
And that was one of the questions that I had was was that the July day that you were referencing?
That was September 23rd.
Okay.
Your Honor, same objection. I'm not sure what those messages are.
Okay.
Nor do I have them here.
All right, I'll take a look and I'll make a decision. And one question that I did have, and it has come up as I've listened to the defendant talk, what were the exact dates? I did have a question mark as to noting that there was, the dates that were on the affidavit were different, the months were different. So what was, if your client knows, what were the exact dates?
Sure, so the most recent is December 10th.
Right, that one I do have.
And then do you recall when
September 23rd.
September 23rd?
Okay.
And then is it
That was the phone call in July 16th.
July 16th?
That's when she called me.
Okay. Yeah, take a look. Thank you. And the packet that you just handed up, those are all different dates? Are these?
Yes, the text messages, yes. They're all of our text messages that we've ever had. But they should be dated.
Okay, and they're different dates in July?
Some from July, yes, after the party. Some from September.
September, okay. So these are messages between the plaintiff and Joe, is that correct? That she was sharing with you?
Correct.
Okay. All right, so I would find them relevant because they are dated the same day, which is September 23rd. And I'll give you an opportunity to respond after the defendant is finished, but I would find them relevant because they're offered to show the nature of the relationship on the date of one of the offenses of the threats. So we can mark that as defendant's exhibit, second exhibit. Yes, thank you. All right, and then I have conversations that are dated July 8th and 11th. And then the 14th. And then the 16th. Okay, and the conversations from July 16th and then 17th, who were these between?
I don't know if I recall which one.
Okay. It just says Mary at the top. And it's the packet that you submitted. It starts on July 8th, and it's the sporadic messages that go through the 11th, the 12th, the 14th.
So you starting on
The
the 15th, you
15th.
said?
It starts on the 8th and it goes through to the 15th, 16th.
Starting on the 8th was,
And then the 16th.
sorry. Starting on the 8th, the hi girlfriend, just making sure you got home okay safely. That was Mary texting me. Sorry, this one isn't in color, so I can't see the color change, but the next, I don't know what happened. The next message, I don't know what happened, phone hung up, I called you back, is from Mary as well. July 11th, I sent her my aunt's phone number because that's when she was trying to get into the courthouse for Mr. Carney's hearing. And she states that she couldn't get in because they were at capacity, and she's standing with my aunt. So these are back and forth between me and Mary, where she says we left, your aunt went to go get the kids, that's Mary. She said, I finished shopping at BJ's, that's Mary. I did text her on July 14th and said, are you free later on if you want to stop by for Cole's birthday, we're having cake. And she said she couldn't make it, but said to tell Cole that Jacob and Aaron said happy birthday. And then she texted me July 15th, is everything okay? Julie told me something happened with your neighbor. I didn't respond. And she said, I hope everything's okay, with the heart emoji and praying hands. The next message is from her as well. Maybe your aunt or Kate can be a middle person for you and Frankie. Tuesday, July 16th, I think your phone died. I know mine, I had to plug it in, was Mary as well. Then she sends me a screenshot of a woman's Twitter post, a mutual friend of ours. Do you want me to keep going?
Yeah, I just, in particular, the 16th, the message that's on the 16th and 17th.
Okay, yeah, so that was her on the 16th, but sent that screenshot, and she said, is Elise talking about, can't see because the arrow is in the way. Oh, is Elise talking about you here? Kara sent it. She said it was someone making up rumors. I don't have Twitter. That's Mary speaking. I said, hi, Mary. I'm sorry my phone died. Just got it back on. And she said, I figured that, LOL, with a laughing emoji. Wednesday, July 17th, she said, I won't say anything to Julie and Joe. I'll just see how things go. I know it will upset Kate, so I won't. July 17th, 7:19, she says, Tony said Elise was in some Free Karen Reed message group, and Aiden was in it the day before yesterday. He left the group. Someone added him. He said, I'm the fuck out of here. July 17th, she sends me a screenshot of a refrigerator, or I think it's a screenshot of a conversation with somebody else that she sent a picture of a refrigerator to, saying I'm in therapy. Oh no. She was talking between her and another mutual friend, Elise. So she said, Kate said Elise said the fridge was a lie. I told her it's not. WTF. Well, here's the text messages. She said, if Julie, Wednesday, July 17th, if Julie shows up on 7/22, don't let her near you guys or at the table at Tahiti. The fucking traitor. I'm not sure what time I can get there. I have to work. Both Joe and I texted her this morning. She hasn't responded to either one of us. Wednesday, July 17th, 6:01, Mary says, my response back to Julie, take some accountability for what you did. Do you want me to read this entire thing?
Well, this is just between you and Mary. That's
Yes.
what all of these messages are?
Yes, correct. That's a pretty long message, so I don't know if you wanted me to go through the whole thing. But I never responded, and the next time she texted me was July 20th, asking how I and the kids were doing with the heart emoji.
Okay. All right, and do you have anything else to add?
I do, just a little bit more. So I also, when I mentioned that Ms. Bagwell and I believe, I don't know if it was just her and her friend Christy, but they let Mr. Carney into the group chat that I had been a part of. The chat had been, for lack of a better word, it had been dead for quite some time. There hadn't been any movement or any talking in it for several weeks. And all of a sudden I got an alert that somebody changed the group name to Aiden Loves to Spy chat. And Mary texted in the group and said, Kara, that's a more fitting name for this chat. Seriously, the way some people flipped and ratted people out. All I have to say is karma's a bitch. Buckle up, traitors, because when it comes for you, you're done. And she did a laughing emoji and 100 emoji. And another girl, Kara, said, uh-oh. And so I believe that was her way of saying that she was going to get her karma on me because she had switched to being on Team Aiden, for lack of a better term. I also have a picture that was taken, Mary took of herself after she got the emergency restraining order with her friend Christy, where she is smiling and holding up the restraining order as if she was bragging about it. And then her friend Christy posted on Twitter with the recording that Mary took of me on the phone and attached it to a zoomed in picture of my crotch area and saying, ha ha ha, DCF is coming for Lindsay today. And I actually did in fact get a call from DCF that day telling me that somebody who they suspected was Mary based on the details of the report. She read the report to me, had called DCF and said that they were in fear of my children because of an incident that had happened months prior in July. DCF did not screen in the report because they found it to be fictitious. Another post was made where somebody on Twitter said that 12,000 people had to click on that soaked denim Whoopie wallet, referring to my vagina, to listen to a sea donkey scream insults and threaten a woman and children. That's a lot of views. And Mary's friend Christy, that was with her and actually wrote the second half of her affidavit.
I'm sorry, I don't understand the relevancy of what her friends are doing out there.
And what are you reading from? What is this from?
Twitter, their post.
And what account is this?
Her friend Christy that wrote the second part of her affidavit, the second page.
The second page of what?
Ms. Bagwell's affidavit about the two incidents in August.
That was actually read by the judge at the time. That was not her.
What do you mean by the second page?
So on the second page, there's a portion that is,
Of this affidavit for the restraining order?
Yes.
Okay.
There was a video on YouTube somewhere and a post by her friend Christy Citroni where she admitted that she had to write part of the affidavit for Ms. Bagwell because her hands were shaking so bad.
Well, I can tell you that the affidavit that there's a I'll look at the affidavit and I'll read it. And there was a portion that the judge initialed, and it appeared that it was testimony during the hearing that the judge added. And the judge, I think the judge initialed it from what I saw.
I'm just trying to prove the point that this is all related to Mr. Carney. He even commented on it himself on these posts, and Miss Bagwell's friend that was with her in court says Lindsay's a fucking psycho who set up Aiden, and everybody's going to see that now. Never fuck with somebody who has more assets than you. Big mistake. Huge.
Again, Your Honor, I don't understand the relevancy of this.
Well, if your client is connected to any of these posts, I mean, it's relevant if someone's holding up if she's holding up her restraining order on a social media, it's relevant. So if that's what she has, then I would see it. If it's public posts of other people, then it's not relevant. But if there's something of your client holding the restraining order that just issued, then that's relevant. So if that's what you have, I would see that. If it's public Twitter posts, I don't find that relevant.
It's public, Your Honor, and she showed me this earlier today. It's not my kind of posting, so I just want to be very clear about that. So that's why I don't find it relevant to see what
Okay.
other people are.
I'll take a look at what you can take a look at it as well, and then I'll make a decision. Just looking for the affidavit, yeah. Yeah. So this we can mark as defendant's exhibit. Okay. And I think the affidavit's probably buried underneath all of this stuff. And this packet will be marked as defendant's exhibit 6. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You put it on the front or the back?
Back, please.
Thank you. Okay, so just the question regarding the affidavit. This is the affidavit that was completed by the plaintiff. This top portion was completed by the plaintiff right here. This bottom portion, that was completed by the judge.
Okay.
So that it was added by the judge, and that states plaintiff testified at the hearing that in August of 2024, defendant called her and said, quote, "You better watch yourself." Also in August, end quote, also in August 2024, the defendant said she would come after her. And then the judge initialed that and wrote the date, which was 12/10 of 24. And I looked at that and I wondered what that was. And I noted the same color pen and I noted the judge's initials.
Perhaps was there a written police affidavit maybe? Maybe that's what they were referring to. I'm not sure.
I have no idea, but I can tell you that that was definitely, that's common practice. If testimony comes in during a hearing, a judge is instructed to add the testimony to the affidavit and initial it.
Okay, thank you.
All right. That's not something that you would know, but that's what that is.
Okay.
Okay. All right, and I'm going to take a look at, so this would certainly be relevant if this is, I mean, that's your client holding up a copy of the order.
My client is the one that took that picture, Your Honor, posted it online. I agree with the court, I think that's relevant, but it's not my client who took it, nor is my client who posted it.
Well, I think it's relevant if someone's holding up an order and allowing someone to take a photograph, it's relevant. It's the court's restraining order that your client is holding up and allowing someone to take a picture of her. So I'm accepting it. And where was this posted?
I believe it was on Twitter or Facebook. I think.
And
Twitter.
whose account?
Christy Citrone's, I believe. Or
And who is
she-
that?
Her friend that's in the picture with her.
Just someone's personal Twitter account?
Yes. Or public. It's public.
Right, but it's not a group Twitter, it's a personal Twitter account of a friend of the
Right.
plaintiff.
Correct.
Okay. So I don't find any of this other, it's just I will look at the photo, but I don't find anything else relevant. So we'll keep the photo, you can return the rest. Noting that it was posted to someone else's account. And we'll mark that as the defendant's exhibit. And is there anything else that you wish to add?
I'd just like to say that I think this, like I said, my reaction, obviously nobody could have seen that coming, but I believe the events leading up to it, trying to instigate and trying to get under my skin and using my children, knowing that that's a way that hurts me and has harmed me for the past year. They were hoping for a reaction to try to discredit me in my upcoming testimony against Mr. Carney. And I would, I don't know if you would like to hear from my witness, but she could testify to any interactions that she's witnessed between me and Ms. Bagwell, to see if she's ever seen any sort of the instances that Ms. Bagwell has described, because she was in the group chat and she's also been present during the times where I met Ms. Bagwell.
Okay. Well, the relevance would be, was she present on July 16th when the alleged threats were made, or September 23rd, or December 10th?
No.
Okay.
Just the pool party on July 8th.
Okay. All right. If she's testifying to any of the dates where the alleged threats were made, that would be relevant. But if she has testimony just regarding the relationship leading up to and after the dates of the alleged threats, I wouldn't find that would be relevant, because the plaintiff testified that you did have a good relationship. So I think that she would confirm, that your witness would confirm that.
Okay.
Okay. All right. And counsel, do you have anything else to add in response?
Well, Your Honor, I would like to follow Ms. Bagwell up for just a couple more questions.
Okay.
For clarity purposes. That's okay.
Go right ahead.
Thank you. Just very briefly, there was a picture that you saw after the ex parte order. Do you have a chance to see that?
Yeah, I saw the actually.
Who took that picture?
Chrissy took it.
And who's Christy?
She's someone I know. I'm friends with.
And was she present for the ex parte order?
Yes.
Okay, did you direct her to take that picture?
No, I didn't know. She went to like I didn't even know. We walked down the hall and she had her phone up and she took a picture, and I didn't even know she took it. And then when I noticed she took it, she noticed she took the photo. She didn't ask me if she could take it. I didn't ask her to take it, but I did tell her to erase that photo and do not post that anywhere. I did not agree with that at all. I was actually upset at her.
And there's been some exhibits put forth by the defendant where there's communications that occur via text between you and her after the July 16th phone call. Did you see those communications?
Yes.
And why is it that you were still in communications with her after that phone call?
Because I was slowly trying to distance myself from her after she made the threat to me. So I wanted to try to slowly move away from her. Like I testified to, I said I did when we were all in the group chat and she would do the audio call, I wouldn't answer. Or if I was in the audio group chat, she would come in. Not a lot of the time she would come in. She disappears for a long period of time, and we all get worried. Kate, she knows Kate Peter is the one that invited me to that pool party, and she knows that a lot of people reach out to her all the time because they're worried about the kids. Her sake, she has mental illness. She has drinking problems.
So it's fair to say that you were still communicating, but not as, were you communicating as much as you had been prior to July 16th?
No.
So you were attempting to separate yourself
from all of them, yes.
And did you tell anyone else about the threats that she had made on July 16th?
on July.
Did you report it to the police at that time?
No.
And why not?
I was afraid of her, and I was in kind of disbelief. I was just trying to help her and the kids, and I felt bad for her because other people were talking about her. I'm a single mom, so I get it. People talk about a single mom, so I tried to help her because I felt bad. Other people were saying bad things about her, including people in this courtroom today that are supposedly supporting her or not supporting her.
And on September 23rd, when you had a phone call with her, did you report? Well, let me back up. She's testified that that's about over an hour-long conversation. Is that accurate?
It's an hour and 11 minutes.
An hour and 11 minutes.
She called me.
She called you. Fair to say, during that hour and 11 minutes, it did not start off with any threats?
No. She was talking about her ex, Frankie, and what had occurred, and she told him to get in her minivan and all this kind of stuff, all what had transpired. I didn't go to the court hearing with her. She did ask me to go. She invited me to go. She's invited me to go out places. I chose not to go out places.
Like the birthday?
Yes.
And in this hour and 11 minutes of the phone call, at what point did you raise those concerns that you testified to earlier about her drinking, the knife incident, the incident? At what point in the phone call?
Towards the end.
And that's when she made threats? Yes.
Yes.
And did you report those to the police at that time?
No.
And why not?
I was afraid of her, and I was feeling mixed emotions. I was afraid of her. I was concerned for her kids. I was trying to get her to realize she has a problem.
And she's also testified that you called DCF on her. Is that true?
I never called DCF on her. That's not true.
And
I don't know who did. I even told the Mansfield police officer, Kelly, I didn't call.
And you've heard her testify that you've now befriended who she refers to as Aiden, that she has a restraining order against. Is that correct? And she's testified that you sided with him and you're friendly with him now? They're all upset that I changed sides with, I believe, parents, innocent, and since I started distancing myself from them and stopped being friends with them and went to the other side, they didn't like that, and they were attacking me all over Twitter. I don't have a Twitter. I never had a Twitter. I don't go on Twitter. And you say they were attacking you on Twitter, is they the defendant?
Yes.
And just one final question. Are you here getting a harassment order because of Aiden Purity, or are you here because of what the defendant's actions have caused you?
I'm here to get the restraining order because of her threatening to come to my house, murder me and my kids. That's not something.
And what, if any, influence has the security had on your request to seek a harassment order against the defendant?
What?
Has he had any influence on you?
No, absolutely not, no.
I think I have no further questions.
Okay. All right, and do you have anything else that you'd like to add, ma'am?
I just think it's pretty clear with the evidence that you can see that I was the one trying to distance myself from her. I never responded hardly ever to her messages. I didn't even consider her a friend at any point. I was cordial with her and friendly with her, but there was these are just ridiculous stories. I don't have a knife in my car. I've never had a knife in my car in my entire life. That incident is completely fictitious and made up. It's getting a little wacky at this point, and I deny everything that she has said, except for the phone call that I have admitted to.
Okay. All right, so in hearing all of the evidence noting that the order issued ex parte with just the plaintiff present before another judge, and I'm here on the extension of the harassment prevention order, I want to make it clear that there's a lot of testimony and evidence and things that have been discussed that frankly have nothing to do with the extension of this order. So the only thing that I'm looking at is whether there's a basis to issue this order with this plaintiff and this defendant. And all of the other factors that have come in have no basis in this hearing. This hearing is simply between the two of you. It has nothing to do with all of the other issues that are being discussed. It's a question for me of whether there's a basis for this harassment order to be further extended. And what I have to look at is whether the plaintiff has met the burden that there are three or more acts of harassment, whether they've been proven. And harassment must be either fighting words or true threats. So when I look at this, I look at whether there were fighting words, and fighting words are limited to words that are likely to provoke a fight, face-to-face personal insults. That's not what we're looking at in the conduct of the defendant in this case. So that I look at true threats, and I look at the three incidents. So the incidents July 16th, where what I heard was, watch your fucking self. They're not your kids. Mind your own fucking business. You don't know who you're fucking with. Mind your fucking business. I'm gonna come for you, is what I was told. September 23rd. Mind your own fucking business. I'll show up at your home. I'll beat your ass in front of your children. And then December 10th was a phone call. And that was, it was 8 blocked calls, I think was what I heard. And it was, why are you fucking talking about my kids? I will kill you. I will slit your, I don't know if it was slit your fucking head off. I will come to your house. I will murder you and your kids. You dumb bitch, do you understand? Do you understand me? So that's the conduct that we're talking about. So in evaluating that conduct, and I did look at the messages that you gave me. I did look at the communication before, the relationship before, but really what I have to look at when I follow the case law for this type of order is the conduct. And true threats are statements where the speaker means to communicate a serious expression of intent to commit an act of violence to one particular individual. The speaker doesn't have to actually intend to carry out the threat, but is it an explicit statement of an intention to harm a victim? That's what I have to look at. Again, is it protected speech or is it a true threat? And I have to make sure that I'm looking at, and I have to exclude constitutionally protected speech and make sure that it's a true threat that communicates a serious expression of an intent to commit an act of violence to a particular individual, and does it in fact cause fear of physical harm to the plaintiff. And when I look at the 3 incidents and how it did impact the plaintiff, I do determine that these 3 incidents do rise to the level of being true threats. And I do think that the incidents, after taking all of the evidence into account, they did in fact cause reasonable fear of physical harm to this plaintiff. And I do find that there is a basis to further extend the order. So I am going to extend the order. The order can be extended for up to 1 year. And are you asking for the order to be extended for a 1-year period, ma'am?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so the order will be extended. The order will be extended exactly as it stands for a 1-year period. And Mr. Clerk, I'll do a 1 year, just to stay away from the holiday. We'll do 1 year from, like, perhaps either the date that it originally issued, or from last week.
When was it originally?
I can check that. I think it was the 10th, yeah.
December 10th, 2025.
Okay. Okay, so after hearing, and that's with both parties present with notice. Where I'll take that under advisement. And do you have a copy for the defendant?
I just served her with a copy.
Okay. Yes, yeah.